In this lesson, we'll be building a shoot 'em up game. It's a reminiscent of an old classic called Spaced Invaders. Basically, I've got a actor at the bottom that can move back and forth, left and right, and can shoot bullets out the top to shoot the dropping enemies that you will see when the game's in play. So I've got three controls for this, left and right on the keyboard, left and right arrows, and spacebar to shoot bullets. I'm going to hit play and demonstrate this and speak about it a bit further. And I'll actually pause it here for a second. So what we have here are three enemies that drop from the sky, and really they're trying to hit you, and you're trying to shoot them down before they can hit you. So I've defaulted the game with two score boxes, if you will, one registering the score of how many enemies we hit, and a health box registering when we get hit, we lose 1 health point. So if an enemy hits me before I can hit them, the health goes down by 1. It will not go down below 0, and that's something we expressly will have to set up, that it doesn't go below 0, but it will go down when we get hit. Now, if I was to continue with this game at a more advanced level, I would say when it hits 0, I would pop to a new scene, game over, but I'm just going to let it ride. If you want to add that in, by all means do so. Also, if you would like to replace these boxes with real graphics, I invite you to do that too. I'm just going to use the square colored boxes though for demonstrating the techniques that we will use to build this. So I'll hit play again, and you'll see I'll let myself get hit by this guy here, and you'll see that my health score will go down by 1, but will not go below 0. So here we go. And there is also a sound associated with it. Now I've allowed myself to go down to 0. Once it hits 0, it no longer goes down. And in this game, it's kind of a free pass. You don't actually die. Okay, so I will move back and forth, as you can see here. If I leave the stage, it does just disappear, so don't go too far off the stage. Now, if you want to put a wrap in there, again, I have no problem with that. That way, it will enter from the other side. So I'm going to hit my spacebar, and boom, killed that one enemy. And there's my score for that kill. Now if I hold the spacebar down, it is continuous like a machine gun, and it will fire while I'm in motion. So I can kind of sweep across. And let me just pause there again. It was very quick what happened, but basically if I delete or kill all three enemies, another 3 gets regenerated and the whole thing starts over again. There's no real conclusion to this game, but we can keep adding to our score, if you will. Okay, so I'll hit play and carry on here. So when I kill this last enemy out of the group of 3 that were falling, 3 more will start to fall. And you can see that this is falling through the floor, and it re-enters through the top, and that's created again by the wrap. I think I was calling it warp, by the wrap. Okay, so it wraps around and comes back in the other side. So let's line this guy up and just fire away. There we go. And because they're so large and the game is so small, I have an easy time killing these enemies. But you can see the objective here, left and right, and I am holding down my spacebar while shooting. If you want to make it more challenging, maybe try one at a time. And that's something we can control as well, how many bullets come out at a time. Okay, you can have it sort of as a single shooter. I've just made it like continuous, like a machine gun. Okay, so my score is up to 36. There we go. All right, so I'm just going to stop this, and we'll go back to the editor. And I'll give you a brief walk around before we build this from scratch. Okay, so look in my actors tab here in the library. My 5 main actors, hero, is the green guy here. Let me go to my actor tab so you can see them appear down here. The bullets, the little red bullets, and they're quite small. If I go to the size, how big are they here? They are 10 by 10 pixels. Where my hero, I believe, is 50 by 50 pixels. Okay, the enemies, I believe, are also 50 by 50. I also welcome you to change these sizes if you see fit, but I'm just keeping it easy to remember here. So my enemy is also 50 by 50 pixels. I've got 2 score elements here. Let me just drag this up. You can drag these around within your library. I've got display score, which you can't see here, but it's basically 2 display boxes. I'm showing you a slightly different technique how to display static text combined with dynamic text, if you will. So that's the score on how many of the white enemies we hit with the bullets. And then I've got one for health, which is virtually the same with respect to the behaviors, but it's meant to lower the score based on getting hit by an enemy. And again, I'm using the same technique, 2 display boxes, and I'll explain that when we come to the build. But basically, it's 2 separate display boxes, but on the same line, giving the illusion of one long text box. Okay, so that's the display. And then I've got a thing called bullet wall. And that's basically an invisible element. If I move this back here, or you know what, let me go to my layers and select it. Bullet wall. It's an invisible box at the top here. What that's meant to do is, because we have the wrap on the vertical to allow for these white enemies to drop and then repeat dropping, if I didn't have this thing up here, the bullets would actually fire through the ceiling and then return through the floor. So this is like a catcher for the bullets. So when the bullets collide with this invisible block behind the blue block here, they just get destroyed. All right, so they are eaten up when they encounter this box at the very top, so that they do not continue and repeat by coming through the floor. That would be rather chaotic and crazy. This is just basically decorative, this element here called score back, and it's just to put my 2 text boxes on top of it, which have, I believe one has white text on a clear background and the other one has red text on a clear background. Okay, now I can click those and you'll see those score boxes, display health as well as display score. So those are all of my actors that are involved. And once again, this is in the layers here. I'll go back to the actors. We've got the hero, the bullets that fire it from the hero, the enemy, which are the white boxes falling from the sky, 2 score areas, display score for our score count, for how many kills we get, display health for how many times we get hit, bullet wall to catch the bullets flying out of the top, and score back to just decorate an area to put behind my scoreboard, if you will. Okay, so that's how this is built. I'll quickly run it one more time, and then we'll start to build this from scratch. Okay, so I'm getting hit here. Let me kill that guy and kill that guy. And then after I kill the third, it will regenerate another set of 3. And there we go. Okay, and if I allow myself to die, I actually don't die, but my health does go down to 0. Now, as I said, I welcome you to introduce a change scene behavior if you hit 0. And it just says maybe a start again button that brings you back to the original scene. Anyhow, this is how it works. I'm going to kill that last guy, which regenerates more, and we will proceed to build this from scratch now. So I'll just go back to my editor and start a new file. Okay, so I'm going to go up and create a new file. File new. Yes, I'll save what I've done here. And we want it to be iPhone 5 portrait. And I will call it, once again, last name underscore lesson number. This happens to be 11B for the final part. Resolution independence, iPhone 5 portrait, create project. Okay, right away I'm going to do a save. And save it in the folder that I've designated for all of my exercises. And we'll go and find that. Okay, right in here, save it as the same name. There we go. Now the file exists, folder exists. And I'll start by, I think I'll just start by creating the little actor at the bottom, the player. And we'll get some movement and color and so on out of him. And then we'll create the bullets that he can fire. So create an actor. And I'm just going to call this one Hero. Hero. Okay, and we'll give him a little bit of properties here. Give him some color. And you know what? Let me just make that a brighter green. Okay, there we go. And size, let's Set it to 50 pixels square. Again, I'll allow you to choose it. I wouldn't go bigger than that, but smaller might be more fun. 50 by 50. Okay. I think for now we're good on the basic properties for the hero. So let me just introduce him to the stage by dragging it. And we'll apply some rules to create some left and right movement. They're going to be pretty basic based on a key press. So I'm just going to slide this guy up here. Highlight the hero inside of the actor's palette, not from the stage, inside of the actor's palette. And I can either do the shortcut with the typing, so I'll just say rule. And I'm going to name the rule. I'll say move right. Okay. And then we'll say based on a condition, it'll be a key press. So I'm going to hit my K, hit my enter key to accept that shortcut, and then click inside of the input box and select which key, which will be my right arrow key. And it does input when you select the key. And that will be the condition for the following, which will be a move. So I'm just going to type in move. And the direction happens to be 0 degrees. That's vertical, or I'm sorry, that's horizontal on the x-axis. And it goes by degrees, and 0 is moving to the right. Let's see for speed. I think we'll bring it down to 200. And that should be good for a right move. Let me just test that. Yes, it is. That's good. Okay, so because I've done one already, I can duplicate that and just change some of the parameters. So I'm just going to Alt click and drag. We'll rename this move left. Okay, and I'll replace the key to be pressed. I'll delete that, hit my left arrow key, and then under the do, the direction is what's known as 180 degrees, which is horizontally to the left. And we will leave the speed consistent at 200. Hit my tab key, save my file, give it a quick test through the play button. Left, right. So it's a pretty good speed, but it's reasonable for what we want to do here today. All right, so a little more interesting part now. Let's add some bullets to this that will fly out of the top. So we'll take a little bit more effort to get that going. Just drag this down a bit. We'll start by creating the new actor. And we'll call it bullets. Okay, and I'm going to make them red. I'll just pick the brightest red here. And we'll make these quite small. I'll make them 10 by 10 pixels. 10 by 10 pixels. So the idea here, the premise is that I want them to be generated from this actor, and I want them to fly upwards, and I want them to be continuous. So we have a device called a timer. So I'm going to run it through the timer and spawn the actor at a specific rate. Just drag my backstage up a bit here. So we need to put that in the hero because we want to generate them coming from the hero. So let me select the hero once again. Here, let me drag this even further up here and I'll collapse this other rule. And we're going to create another rule. And I'll call it shooting bullets. So new rule. And we'll name it shooting bullets. Okay, and the condition that I want to shoot the bullets on are on the spacebar being pressed. So that's a key press. So again, I hit K for key, hit my enter key there, and hit my spacebar once I put my cursor in that window. And the do is where all the action takes place. We're going to introduce that timer here. So this is a first for us, a timer. I'll just type in TIM and it fills in the rest. And the way this works is that we can actually time something to occur repeatedly every unit of time. So I'm going to go in and actually I'm going to set it, right now it's saying every 5 seconds, do something. I want to shoot these bullets very quickly. So I'm going to say every 10th of a second. So that would be every 0.1. And I'll hit my tab key to enter that. So 10 times a second a bullet will fire. Now in reality it'll probably be a bit less, but it'll be still many per second. And down here, let's actually introduce the spawn actor. So right in here, inside of my timer, I was almost going to click there by accident. Inside the timer, we're going to add a spawn actor behavior. Again, I can just type in the first few letters and it does show up as a hint. And I can accept that with my enter key. So spawn actor, which actor? Well, we want to spawn bullets. Now we can dictate directions, positions, and so on. So I'm just going to work with the position. Actually, you know what? Before I even do that, let's just see what we get here now so you can appreciate these fine-tuning measures. I'm going to save the file. I'll do a quick test movie here. I'll just hide that for a second. And okay, so I'm moving back and forth. So when I hit the space bar, you see it spawned an actor. And if I hold it down, move around, it's spawning an actor. Two problems here. One is the bullets are not flying up. And second is, I want them to spawn from what looks like the top of the box, not the center. Let me just reset that again. So I'm moving around, and I'm dropping bullets there. So they are getting spawned. So sort of part one of the spawning works. So let's complete that thought by moving the bullet to the top. So I'll start with that. I'm just going to go incrementally. So position, this is X coordinate, this is Y coordinate. So I'm just going to say, through trial and error, I had already determined this, so I'm going to shortcut to the solution here. 30 pixels up. Let's try that. Okay, hit play, and there we go. Exactly on the top, right? So the last thing I want to do with respect to the bullets is actually give it some movement. I've determined that it's probably better to put that actually inside the bullet itself. So we'll attach a move behavior to the bullet itself. So let's go down to our bullets here and add a move behavior. Okay, the direction is straight up, so that's 90 degrees. And for speed, I'll leave it at 300 for now. We'll see how that works, but that might very well be good enough. And we'll just save that and test that. Okay, here we go. So moving back and forth. Okay, spacebar, there we go. Okay, and if I hold it down, there we have our shooting bullets. So there's our hero, fully capable of firing off a round of deadly red bullets. Okay, so I guess the next stage we'll do is setting up the enemies that drop from the sky. Okay, back to the editor. So I'm going to add a new actor here. And we'll call it enemy. Okay, and I'll leave it defaulted to the color of white, but the size I'm going to bring down. And I'm going to make these a bit, actually I'll keep them consistent, easy to remember. 50 by 50. Now I do invite you to make them smaller or varied. 20 by 20 might be interesting. I'm going to leave these at 50 by 50 though. And we'll introduce 3 of those guys to the stage, and then we'll add a behavior to make them drop. So actually I'll just introduce 1 for now. Okay, and we'll put him near the top here and click back on enemy inside of my library, and we'll add a move command. Move. And now we're going downwards, which is 270 degrees. And I'll keep the rate also at 300 for that. And let's give that a test. Okay, so there it goes, and then it's gone. So what we want to do is we want to create that wrap, and that's a scene feature. Okay, so over to my scene. Wrap Y. Up and down. Okay, save that, give it another quick test here. So now it repeats. So the idea here would be to go over and try to shoot it, but watch what happens when I do that right now. Look at my bullets, they're going up and then they're coming down. Because of that wrap, I'd mentioned this earlier, they are just adding and accumulating, so it looks cool, but it's not what we want. So two things there. Well, the main thing is I actually want to just create a little catch net, if you will, for my bullets at the top. So let's just start with that. So that's another actor that I need to create. And let's see here. I guess I will just call it bullet wall. So new actor. Bullet wall. So it eats the bullets. It's going to be invisible at the top ultimately, or at least behind stuff so that the user can't physically see it. Go over to my actor tab here. And you know what? I think I'm just going to drag that out and size it on stage. Okay, so we'll just throw that at the top right there. Okay, so whenever the bullets hit that, the idea is that the bullets will self-destruct, therefore they won't re-enter the bottom when this thing is set to wrap. So we need to set those up on the bullets so it self-destructs. So I'm going to create a rule when it collides with bullet wall to destroy itself. So new rule. I'll call it eaten by wall. Hopefully that describes it. And we're basing it on a collision. So when actor collides with actor bullet wall, do the following, which will be a destroy command. So simply destroy. There we go. Save it and test it. Okay, so now the bullets should be disappearing when they hit the top and not re-entering through the bottom. Oh, but because it's not invisible, and in fact I'll move it a bit, with the wrap on it actually appears also at the bottom, but let's just fire some bullets into it there. And you can see they're not coming up through the bottom, so that's why I made it invisible. So let's do that now. Okay. Move things around here, highlight it. Actually, I'll just highlight it over here and under color. And it is important to highlight it over here in your library and not on the stage. Under color, let me just slide this up a bit here, and alpha I will set to 0. I could have also gone to graphics and set visibility to 0. Two ways to do the same thing. Let me just save this and test it though. Okay, so you're not seeing it now. You do see where the bullets are going through though, so I'm going to have to move it a bit. Or just bring it down here so that it's not actually hanging out the bottom. So I just brought it just below so it's not, again, hanging in the other side, because it's almost like it's tiling, right? It's that kind of a tiling effect. Again, save. Just a little bit of finessing, that's all. And if I shoot the bullets now, okay, and you can actually see that invisible line where they kind of disappear, and they're not being seen at the bottom whatsoever. Okay, so now we've got a little bit of control over the bullets. So we'll work back on the enemy a bit more. And I'll start by just adding 2 more randomly. So I'm going to go on the stage, Alt click and drag, Alt click and drag, and then I'll locate these guys. They can start outside, right? This guy will start here so that they're sort of at different levels when they're dropping. Let's just see what that gives me here. All right, there we go. So I would be trying to go around and killing these guys. So maybe we can do that next, where they die when a bullet hits them. So we'll do that also inside of the enemy's behaviors. Okay, so we'll highlight enemy over here and drag this all the way up and add a new rule. Pretty basic stuff so far, but when it all adds up, it does give you a pretty good gaming feature, I guess. Rule: killed by bullets. Okay, and remember I'm inside of the enemy's behaviors right now in the backstage. So collision, actor of type, bullets. So when it collides with a bullet, it will get destroyed. Okay, destroy. Save and test. Okay, so shooting down. There we go. Shooting down and shooting down. I do have 2 sound files I want to import for this. I probably should have done that at the beginning, but no matter. I guess I'll bring them in now. I'm just going to save this file. And these are downloadable, so you will be provided with these from my website. But let me just go over to Media. Add the assets, because I'm going to put the sounds in now. Add assets, okay. I have it on my desktop. We're using WAV files for this. I find that the WAV files are the friendliest on the PC platform. Now, if you don't see anything in your folder when you go to it, just go down here and make sure you choose all media files. And suddenly they appear. So I'm just going to select them both with my Shift key. Bring them in. And those are the 2 sounds we'll use. So I'll attach a sound here as well. So I'll go down here and go play sound. Play sound. And this is pretty basic. You just pull it from the menu. I'm not sure which one I'm going to use. I'll try bump 2 for now. If I want to switch them around, I will. And I also want to attach a sound on when the actor gets hit by an enemy. But let's just try this for now. Okay, so when I hit him with a bullet, we definitely get a stronger response when the sound is there. Okay, so if I go back now, I want to have a sound when the enemy hits the hero as well. So let's go back to our actors. We'll go into hero. And let's see what I have here. Shooting bullets, okay, on the timer. All right, I'll close that. Okay, and I'll start a new rule. And I'll say hit by enemy. It's just descriptive, so make them count for yourself so that you understand what each rule's main function is. It certainly helps when you're troubleshooting. All right, so what's the condition? Again, it's a collision. Actor of type enemy. So when the enemy hits the hero, what will it do? For now, we're just going to make a sound, and then a little bit later, we will add the score features and so on. So I'm going to say play sound. Play sound. And I believe we'll use bump 1 for this. Save and test. All right, see, there's the sound for when I get hit by an enemy. And here's the sound when I hit the enemy. Okay, we're doing well so far. So now we're going to deal with regenerating the enemies once they've all been killed.